I mean, it'll take a while to process this or whatnot, but it's the same mentality. Get back to work. You know what I mean? I ain't retiring, if that's what you're asking. That's out. So, you know, back to work.
Slick Rick is back, but Acho, what's the biggest disappointment for the Suns?
There are several. But you asked me the biggest. The biggest is Chris Paul. And it's not that Chris Paul played poorly. He did not. You would have to be a lunatic or a casual to think that Chris Paul played poorly. That's not the issue. Okay. The disappointment is, Chris Paul, you waited 16 years for this moment. The disappointment is, Chris Paul, we waited 16 years with you for this moment. The disappointment is, Chris Paul, you were up 2-0 in this series, and yet you didn't get the job done. Chris Paul's the biggest disappointment to me because, yes, he played better, but he allowed the other team's best player to improve at a greater proportion than he improved. Chris Paul, it wasn't about being better than your former self. It wasn't about having a better finals than a postseason and having a better postseason than a regular season. It was having a better finals than whoever the heck else was on the court with you. And you didn't. It was also about emptying the chamber. When you play in a high-level game, my coaches told me in the NFL or in college, just empty the clip. Figuratively speaking, leave everything you can on the court. Chris Paul, why'd you play 39 minutes? Why'd Jay Crowder play more minutes than you? Why'd Devin Booker play more minutes than you? Why'd Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis play more minutes than you? There isn't another game. That's it. Season's over. Game's over. I was just as disappointed, if y'all recall, LeBron James against Devin Booker. Last game, Game 6, Lakers versus Suns. Devin Booker played 46 minutes. LeBron played 41. Booker dropped 47. LeBron dropped 29. That's it. The season's over. You got nothing left to save. Leave it all out there. Get carried off the court. Paul Pierce, wheelchair, no bathroom excuse. All of it. So I'm not disappointed because Chris Paul played bad. He didn't play bad. But when you wait 16 years for a moment and it may never come again, I have to see your best be better than anyone else's best, particularly if going into that game, you're the Hall of Famer. Going into that game, you're the top 5 player at your position, arguably. Going into that game, you're the best player historically. And you didn't come out of that game in the same way or in the same manner. For me, huge letdown.
I am not disappointed in anything about the Suns because for me to be disappointed, I would have to have an expectation of something that ultimately did not happen. Am I disappointed that, or did I not expect Chris Paul at age 36 to wear down as the series went on once the attention was focused on him? That's not a surprise. Devin Booker playing emotionally and allowing that to cloud his judgment and therefore not playing smart basketball. Did that surprise me? No, it did not. DeAndre Ayton having great series up until now he's matched up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, a riddle that he could not find the answer for. Am I surprised by that? No, I am surprised that, or was surprised, that the Phoenix Suns actually made it to the NBA Finals. That was the big surprise. That's not what I expected. So they exceeded my expectations for a team that had not been to the playoffs in a decade, with a point guard at 36 years old who had never been able to stay healthy enough to get all the way to the finals. So there's nothing that happened with the Phoenix Suns in this finals or in this year that I look at and say, I'm disappointed in the. How can I be? I can't be disappointed in the Phoenix Suns for doing something that Chris Paul had never done before, and the Phoenix Suns hadn't done since 1993.
Say it again. I'm echoing what you're saying, Slick Rick, over there. I don't have a disappointment because they overachieved. Go back to December 22nd when you saw Chris Paul in the first game for the Phoenix Suns, a non-playoff team. Were you thinking it was going to end like this? Did you think it was going to end in the finals in the Game 6? No, not at all. So we will not penalize this team for the other team living out a fairy tale, living out their dreams and winning, and Milwaukee finally getting their championship. Both things could be true. Milwaukee, you went out there and won a championship. And, hey, Phoenix, you guys overachieved. Good building block towards your future. I need to see my boy Acho, because imagine you and I got this proposition, let's say 5 years ago or something. Hey, you get to race Usain Bolt in one of those celebrity matchups. What? And I'm like, yes, I'll race Usain Bolt. I ain't scared. I know I'm going to lose. But guess what? Even in a loss, what if I PR? Even in a loss, what if I do my best? Then what you gonna sit there after the race? Man, you lost to Usain Bolt, man, you sorry, I'm disappointed in you. You gonna say, nah, bro, you did your thing, even though you got smoked. So that's what happens, DK Metcalf. So the point is, I'm looking at this situation the same way. We're looking at the Suns who won 51 games this year. That's almost as much as they've won in the 2 seasons prior. Combined 54 wins. Acho, you just gave some credit to Giannis and the Bucks because their first game, they only won 15 games. First year, they won 15 games. And then this year in the playoffs alone, they win 16. Well, make it make sense. Give Phoenix the same kind of respect you gave the climb and the road and the journey for the Milwaukee Bucks. A team that missed the playoffs 10 straight seasons before this year, the Phoenix Suns, and now you're going to sit there high on a horse and be disappointed? Not me. I expected this.
All of what you all are saying makes sense and sounds good without context.
Okay.
But within the context, doesn't sound nearly as good. First things first is, Sal, there's a huge discrepancy, I would assume, between your speed and Usain Bolt's speed. Yeah, so even if you run a personal best and he still beats you, no, I will not be disappointed because you were not supposed to win. Remember, the Phoenix Suns were the favorites going into this matchup. The favorites lost. The favorites also were up 2-0. So that's where I would draw a disconnect. Slick Rick, I would also propose that, of course, I wouldn't anticipate the Suns being in the finals. But, Slick, had I told you Anthony Davis would get hurt in the first round, Kawhi Leonard would tear his ACL, Jamal Murray would not be present, you would probably say, you know what? I could see the Suns coming out the West. Context matters. So after hearing all of those things or witnessing all of those things, then it's not a surprise. The Suns didn't overachieve. The Suns achieved accurately. AD was hurt, Kawhi was hurt. With all those players being gone, the Suns should show up there. But why I'm disappointed is it was theirs for the taking, Slick. You up 2-0. You're up 2-0. Y'all had to win 2 games before the Bucks could win 4. That was it. That was the proposition. By game 3, Suns, you need to win 2. They need to win 4. That's it. That's the deal. Take it or leave it. The other thing is, and I'm saving this for later, but I got to give it to you now, Slick. I think you'll enjoy this one, Sel. You as well.
Let's go.
Michael Jordan is 5th all-time in NBA history in scoring. Chris Paul is 5th all-time in NBA history in assists. That means that Chris Paul is as good at assisting, passing the basketball, as Jordan was scoring the basketball. The last time Jordan was in an NBA Finals, Game 6, 98, he had 45 points, the 3rd most all-time in a closeout game of the finals. So what Jordan did best, he did at his best, and the 3rd best in history in the most pivotal moment. Chris Paul, you are as good as Jordan passing the ball. So in your most pivotal moment, your closeout game of your NBA Finals, I need to see something that is equivalent to the 3rd most of all time in that category. And yet you didn't have the most assists on your team. Jrue Holiday also had more assists than you on another team. Chris Middleton had more assists than you on the other team. You didn't have the most assists on the court. So I'm disappointed because